Welcome back to the deep dive. If you're running a business here in Australia, maybe you're a C-level exec,
Huh.
you probably know the feeling.
Oh, yes.
That grind of repetitive tasks, things getting slowed down by little manual errors, and you're always pushing, for more efficiency, trying to get that competitive edge.
It's constant, isn't it? Especially now. Just keeping the lights on isn't really enough. You've got to be smarter, faster.
Leaner, more flexible.
Exactly. And letting your team actually think, get them away from the clicking and copying onto the stuff that actually grows the business.
Well, that's precisely why we're diving into this today. We're looking at how businesses are tackling these things head-on with automation. Specifically, robotic process automation RPA.
And using a platform the sources kept pointing to, UiPath.
Right, so we've got the source materials notes, some overviews, even a study guide, all focused on a company, C9, that does UiPath development right here for the Australian market.
Our mission today is really to pull apart those sources, find the core insights, what they're saying you really need to know about this whole area.
Okay, let's jump in. We'll cover what RPA actually is, the benefits, the sources, talk about some big ones there, how you'd typically implement it.
And some interesting trends coming up for 2025 as well.
Yeah, and also what these materials suggest makes this company, C9, a relevant option for businesses here.
Sounds good. So starting with the basics, like you said, what is RPA according to the sources? It's not physical robots, right?
No, definitely not. Think software bots, little virtual workers.
Right. They're designed to basically copy how a person uses a computer. Clicking, typing.
Copy, pasting, moving between different apps, all that stuff.
Exactly. It follows rules you set up beforehand to get tasks done. And it works with the software you already have, spreadsheets, databases, whatever. No need to rip everything out.
So it doesn't need complex new integrations necessarily. It just interacts like a user would.
Pretty much. And the sources really highlighted UiPath as, well, a key platform for actually building and managing these software bots.
Got it. The toolkit for making these digital helpers. Now, the sources spent a lot of time on the why. Why should a business care? What were the big benefits?
Well, the main theme was really about speeding things up and optimizing how the business runs.
Okay.
The sources kept saying that automating those repetitive tasks gives a huge boost to efficiency. And it's not just faster.
Fewer mistakes, too, I imagine.
Big time. Fewer human errors. And critically, it frees up your people's time.
That feels like the really big one. If you take a task that someone spends, say, 3 hours a day doing, clicking around, copying data, and a bot does it in minutes.
Right.
Suddenly that person has 3 hours back for, I don't know, talking to clients, solving actual problems, planning things.
Yeah, higher value work, that's a real tangible impact. Another key thing mentioned was integration.
How it connects with existing systems.
Yes. The sources emphasized that UiPath development, when done well, lets you smoothly connect with what you've already got. The aim isn't to replace everything. It's more like creating this automation layer on top, making different systems talk to each other better.
So it's like a bridge. You might have older systems, maybe a bit clunky but essential.
Right.
And RPA can work with them, coordinate tasks across them. That sounds incredibly practical.
It is, especially if you've got that mix of old and new tech.
And what about growth, if a business is scaling up?
Scalability was another major point. The sources said good UiPath solutions are built to be scalable and flexible. You can start small, automate a few things.
And then expand it out.
Exactly. As the business grows or needs change, the automation can grow with it. It's not meant to be static.
That's smart. So the tech supports growth, doesn't hold it back. The sources also mention speed and accuracy. Does that link into compliance?
Definitely. They talked about rapid development, getting things up and running relatively quickly using an agile approach. And yeah, for compliance, they highlighted building precise solutions with good error handling, which is important here in Australia, aligning with local rules, making sure data is accurate, consistent, minimizing risk. That came up.
Yeah, that makes sense. Better compliance, better accuracy, vital if you're in finance or health or anywhere with sensitive data. Knowing a bot does it the same way every single time.
Peace of mind.
Right. And it's not just setting it up, is it? They talked about ongoing support, too.
Yes, that was clear. Support, maintenance, tweaking things. Automation isn't a set and forget deal.
Things change. Systems get updated.
Exactly. So you need that ongoing monitoring and adjustment to make sure it keeps delivering value. That support structure is key for the long-term ROI.
Okay, so the benefits are pretty clear. Efficiency, cutting costs, freeing up staff, better integration, scalability, speed, accuracy, compliance, ongoing support. Wow.
It's a strong list.
But the sources also gave us some actual numbers, didn't they? Especially in that FAQ section. What were those figures?
Yeah, this is where it gets really concrete. The sources claim businesses could see up to an 80% reduction in manual processes.
80%.
80%. Through intelligent workflow orchestration. Think about that, 4/5 of tasks people are doing manually now, potentially automated.
Wow. That's genuinely transformative for how a place operates day to day. What about costs?
On the cost side, they talked about transforming operational expenses, reducing the need for manual intervention by 65% to 75%.
65 to 75% cost reduction tied to manual work.
Yeah, that's a direct hit to the bottom line. Removing that manual effort pays off.
Okay, 80% less manual work, 65, 75% cost reduction from that. Those are numbers that would make any business leader here sit up and take notice. Really shows the potential return.
Absolutely. It moves it from just efficiency to actual dollars and operational reality.
Now, these sources, they weren't just general UiPath guides. They focused on C9 services. What did they say about C9's approach?
Right.
What makes them or stand out for the Australian market according to the materials?
Well, they position C9 as a specialist, focused on hitting peak efficiency for Australian businesses using UiPath. They mentioned something called the C9 advantage.
Okay, what's that involved?
According to the sources, it's things like a really customized approach, having expert UiPath developers, providing the whole service from strategy right through to support.
The end-to-end thing.
Yeah, plus a focus on user experience, even for the bot, interestingly. That ongoing support we mentioned, a track record, lots of overall experience, and this sort of customer-first mindset.
So those are their pillars.
Yeah.
Did the sources explain how they approach the actual development, their method?
They did. They said their method transcends conventional automation. Bit of jargon there, but...
Yeah. What does that mean practically?
They talked about a strategic innovation DNA, basically designing solutions that aren't just automating a task, but are, aligned with the bigger business goals.
Thinking strategically, not just tactically.
Right. And they also highlighted enterprise integration mastery. That's their term for being really good at making workflows run smoothly across different systems, even connecting to older legacy stuff.
That integration point again.
Yeah.
Seems critical in making the new automation work with everything else.
Definitely. And their focus on Australia was strong too.
How?
They claimed Australian market leadership, saying it comes from deeply understanding local compliance, local ways of doing business. The idea is their solutions fit the specific needs and rules here.
Which, if you're a local business, probably feels important, knowing the provider gets the nuances of operating here.
Yeah, rather than just a generic global approach. They also mentioned a continuous evolution framework.
Okay, what's that about?
That points to how they see automation. It's a journey, not a one-off project. This framework is supposed to ensure the automation keeps delivering value as the business and the market change, built to adapt.
Building for the future, not just fixing today. Makes sense. The sources also gave some background on C9, right? Their history.
Yeah, context for that expert team claim. As of when the materials were written, C9 had been around for over 18 years.
18 years, okay.
Done over 350 projects, used more than 100 different technologies, and offered over 45 services. That history and breadth were presented as proof of their expertise.
Over 350 projects. Yeah, that suggests they've seen a lot of different business problems, and they have offices here.
Sources mentioned a presence in Brisbane, Melbourne, and Sydney, covering the main hubs.
Right, local presence. Okay, let's switch focus slightly. The documents also look ahead to 2025 trends in UiPath. What's coming down the track?
A big one is more AI. Artificial intelligence getting baked deeper into automation.
How so?
Well, UiPath is adding capabilities like document understanding, computer vision, processing language. The sources gave an example of an Australian bank.
Okay.
Using AI-powered UiPath bots, not just to process loan applications faster, but to actually read and understand scanned documents, pulling out the right info, even if it's messy or unstructured.
So it's moving beyond just following simple rules. It's starting to interpret information.
Exactly. Which means you can automate much more complex stuff.
That's a significant leap. What else did they flag for next year?
More integration with specialized business software. Think big platforms like SAP, Salesforce, UiPath is apparently expanding how it connects, making it easier to automate processes that jump between these core systems.
Right, building on that integration benefit again, but making it tighter with the major players. What about citizen development? That sounds intriguing.
Yeah, this is interesting. It could change who actually builds the automations. UiPath is making tools like StudioX simpler
For non-technical people.
for non-technical business users, yeah. The citizen developers. The idea is to let people in departments build simple bots for their own tasks.
So like a finance analyst could automate a report they run every week without needing the main IT team.
Potentially, yes. It empowers people closer to the problem to create solutions, maybe freeing up central IT for the really complex stuff. It's kind of democratizing automation.
Spreading the capability out.
Right. The sources also mentioned more focus on governance and security, which makes sense.
Yeah, if bots are handling critical processes, you need strong controls.
Policies, standards, compliance checks, that becomes even more important as you scale up automation.
And the final trend.
Task capture and process mining. Basically, tools that help businesses automatically figure out how work actually gets done right now.
Before they automate it.
Exactly. Analyze and map the real-world process first, so you end up automating the best version of the process, not just making an inefficient process run faster.
Crucial first step. Don't automate a mess.
Precisely. Understand and optimize first, then automate effectively.
Okay, so let's pull this together for, the Australian business owners, the C-level execs listening. The sources we looked at paint a really compelling picture for using UiPath automation.
Yeah, they describe it as a serious tool for getting big efficiency gains, cutting costs significantly, enabling growth through scalability.
And ultimately just making the business stronger, more competitive.
And those numbers, they cited up to 80% fewer manual processes, 65–75% cost reduction from that. They really drive home the potential impact.
Yeah, they're hard to ignore.
And looking ahead, things like more AI citizen development. It shows the technology is getting more powerful, but also maybe more accessible.
So if you're listening and thinking about how this kind of intelligent automation could tackle challenges in your own business, the sources point towards C9 as a specialist provider here in Australia.
Described in the materials as Australia's leading custom software, apps, integration, and database developer company.
Right. And based on what we've discussed, you can check out their services and learn more on their website. That's www.c9.com.au.
Or, if you'd rather talk to someone directly about your specific situation, the sources also gave a phone number, 0730717442. Might be worth exploring how this could fit your own business needs.
Absolutely. And just before we finish this deep dive, if you found this useful, please do hit that follow button on whatever platform you're using.
Yeah, and if you know someone else, maybe another business leader who could benefit from this discussion about UiPath automation in Australia, please do share this with them.
Definitely. And thinking about those future trends Vera mentioned.
The AI integration, citizen development.
It really does leave you with a thought, doesn't it? Based on these sources. How quickly will these things actually reshape the workplace here in Australia? Maybe sooner than we think. And what should you be doing now to get ready? Something to mull over.